In the not-so-distant past, I encountered a series of unsettling events that all seemed to revolve around my Facebook account. My name is Mia, and these occurrences began a few years ago. It all started with a peculiar Facebook message that landed in my inbox. At the time, I was a regular Facebook user with a history of accepting friend requests from people I didn't necessarily know personally. The message in question was filled with multiple, lengthy links and sent by a user without a profile picture. Assuming it was spam, I hastily deleted the message and unfriended the sender. But the eerie messages didn't stop there. The next day, I received another message from a different user, this time with a generic sports team logo as their profile picture. They too sent a string of random links, fueling my suspicion that a Facebook hack was circulating. The situation escalated when I received friend requests from two accounts with disturbing usernames: Mia Anderson Sucks and Mia Anderson is an Idiot. These profiles appeared newly created, and it became apparent that someone was intentionally targeting me. Alarmed, I declined these bizarre friend requests and decided to take a break from Facebook. I uninstalled the app from my phone and refrained from using it on my laptop. However, my attempt to distance myself from these strange events was futile. After a few days of peace, my tranquility was shattered one night when I heard an unnerving knock at my front door. I lived alone in an apartment, and it was already midnight. Upon investigating, I found no one at the door. The pattern continued over the next couple of days, mysterious knocks with no one in sight. Then, I discovered a chilling surprise on my doorstep. A pile of paper sheets, each bearing a printed copy of my Facebook profile picture. This development deeply disturbed me, and I felt trapped in a sinister mystery. Fearful and confused, I decided to report these events to the police. Despite my apprehensions, once I had involved the authorities, the harassment abruptly ceased. There were no more unnerving knocks, no strange messages, and no more eerie friend requests. To this day, I remain in the dark about the identity of the person responsible for this disturbing ordeal. A few years ago, I, Emily, had an unsettling experience that revolved around my Facebook account. This chilling series of events left me perplexed and unnerved, and it all began with an innocuous Facebook message. At the time, I was an active Facebook user, having used the platform for years to connect with friends, both old and new. I had accumulated hundreds of friends, many of whom I didn't personally know but had accepted friend requests from over time. The Eerie Saga started when I received a message that seemed like typical spam. It contained multiple lengthy links and had no accompanying text. The sender was an anonymous profile with no profile picture, which was a common trait of spam accounts. Thinking it was just another random spam message, I deleted it and promptly unfriended the sender. However, the strange messages didn't stop at one. The following day, I found myself confronted with another bizarre message from a different user. This time, the sender had a generic sports team logo as their profile picture, and once again, they sent a slew of cryptic links. My suspicion that a Facebook hack was circulating grew stronger, but I deleted these messages and continued with my day. As if to taunt me, the next day brought more of these spam messages from various accounts. I couldn't help but wonder what was happening and why I was being targeted. My unease deepened. Then, the situation took a darker turn. One evening, around midnight, my solitude in my apartment was interrupted by a persistent knocking at my front door. My heart pounded as I cautiously approached the door, bewildered about who would visit so late at night. To my surprise, no one was there when I peered through the peephole. The next day brought another unexplained knock, with the same outcome: an empty doorstep. The suspense and fear gnawed at me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that someone was monitoring my every move. The breaking point came when I discovered a disturbing surprise right outside my front door. Strewn on the floor was a pile of paper sheets, each bearing a printed copy of my Facebook profile picture. The realization that someone had gone through the effort of printing these images filled me with dread. It was no longer a mere online harassment. It had escalated to a terrifying real-world intrusion. Feeling trapped and fearing for my safety, I decided to report these distressing events to the police. As I recounted the bizarre sequence of messages, the relentless knocking, and the unsettling paper trail, I hoped for answers and a resolution to this ordeal. However, what followed was perhaps the most disconcerting part of the entire experience. After I involved the authorities, the harassment abruptly ceased. There were no more eerie knocks, no more strange messages, and no more bizarre friend requests. The perpetrator remained a faceless enigma, leaving me in the dark about their identity and motive. To this day, I remain haunted by the memories of those disturbing events, forever wondering who had targeted me and why. The sense of vulnerability lingers, a chilling reminder of the mysterious and sinister side of the online world. My name is Alex, and I was an active user of Facebook back in 2013. I had built a reasonable network of friends, but nothing too extravagant compared to some users. It was just a way to stay connected, share moments, and engage in light-hearted conversations. Little did I know that one seemingly ordinary friend request would lead to a disturbing encounter that would forever change how I approached online interactions. It all began when I received a friend request from a person named Veronica. Her profile picture exuded warmth and approachability, and we had a handful of mutual friends in common. So, I accepted her request without much thought. After all, it was just one more connection in the digital sea, or so I thought. As Veronica and I started chatting, it became evident that we had a lot in common. Our conversations flowed naturally, and we quickly discovered shared interests and experiences. We began to bond, our online friendship deepening with each passing day. It was a connection that felt genuine, one that provided companionship and a sense of connection in the sometimes lonely online world. After a few weeks of continuous interaction, the idea of meeting in person started to take shape. This was a decision I didn't make lightly. The thought of transitioning an online friendship into the real world was both exciting and nerve-wracking. But Veronica's friendly demeanor and the fact that we had mutual friends seemed like reassuring factors. So we decided to meet at a local mall on a Saturday morning. The day of our meeting finally arrived, and I found myself on the way to the mall, feeling a mix of anticipation and nervousness. I messaged Veronica to confirm my presence, eager to put a face to the name and the profile picture that had become so familiar. However, that's when things took an eerie turn. Veronica's responses started to become sporadic and inconsistent. At first, she claimed to be inside the mall, stating that she would find me soon. But her messages grew increasingly erratic, and alarm bells began to ring in my head. Something wasn't right. I tried to reach out to her repeatedly, but my messages were met with silence. Panic started to creep in as I stood alone in the bustling mall, surrounded by strangers, and feeling completely isolated. It was a bizarre and unnerving situation, and I had no idea what to do next. As I ventured deeper into the mall, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every time I turned around, there he was. A man who seemed to be following my every move. My unease grew with each passing moment, and the initial excitement of our meeting quickly turned into dread. The stranger's presence was palpable, his gaze unrelenting and unsettling. He made no attempt to hide the fact that he was observing me, and I couldn't help but feel like I was being hunted. My mind raced as I continued my search for Veronica, determined to make sense of the bizarre situation. But as I pressed on, the stranger's actions became more sinister, and his intentions remained a mystery. Then, the message from Veronica came, instructing me to meet her at the food court entrance. It was a glimmer of hope in the darkness, but as I returned to the designated spot, my heart sank. The man who had been following me was nearby, making intense eye contact before vanishing behind a door. Fear surged through me, and I knew I had to act quickly to ensure my safety. With a surge of adrenaline, I changed my course and exited the mall through a different door, all the while keeping a watchful eye on my surroundings. It wasn't until I reached the safety of the parking lot that I allowed myself to breathe again. The sense of relief was overwhelming, knowing that I had eluded the sinister presence that had haunted me within the mall. But the ordeal was far from over. When I returned home, I found yet another message from Veronica, questioning why I hadn't met her at the food court entrance. It was the final straw, and my suspicions grew exponentially. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I asked Veronica to send a current photo of herself, a simple request meant to clear up the confusion and put an end to my growing doubts. To my shock, she didn't comply. Instead, she promptly blocked me, severing all ties. The enigmatic identity of Veronica and the menacing stranger who shadowed my steps remained unsolved mysteries, lingering in the back of my mind as haunting reminders of the dangers that can hide behind the screen. Hey guys, Dark Tales Library here. I just wanted to say a big thank you for making it to the end of the video. It means a lot. And if you liked it, please consider subscribing. It helps out more than you know and also tells me what you guys like and want to see more of. Thanks again.